Toyota versus GWM versus any other Chinese car. Which one should you buy in 2023? In this case, we're not talking about specific brands. We're talking about should you buy a Chinese car or should you buy a more established brand such as something like Toyota or Subaru or something along those lines. It was hard for me to summarize the title of this video, and I will try to make it not ranty, but it is going to be conversational. But I am going to put here on the side the topics that I'm planning to talk about so that you can use the chapters in the timeline of the video if you don't have time and don't want to listen to the whole narrative. Because there is a lot to say. There is a lot on my mind. I have started trying to sell this HAVAL H6. So I have some insights from the market for you, my friends, which are going to be very, very valuable for you if depreciation of the vehicles, loss of value of the vehicles, resellability of the vehicles is of any interest to you. And if you're buying a new asset such as the car, it may be of interest to you. I also would like to share with you my evolving thoughts on owning a Chinese vehicle in Australia. Spoiler alert, and straight away to kind of calm you down a little bit, I still think that there is a massive market for Chinese vehicles, but I do believe that I've gotten a little bit of an extra insight trying to sell this car. Yeah, point number one. Point number two is, let's talk about under which specific conditions it still makes sense buying Chinese vehicles versus looking at other options of acquiring vehicles from more established brands because of a few topics there. Check the description for the offers that are provided by our sponsors on essential car electronics such as dash cams and such as wireless Android Auto and Carplay adapters. It helps you get the device cheaper, it helps you with the connectivity to your car, and it helps me a little bit because I do admittedly love coffee, and that is what you're buying me virtually. Yeah. I still believe that out of the lineup of different Chinese brands in Australia, Great Wall Motor, GWM, is probably the most robust, the most solid car as far as the confidence that I have in the vehicle to last a long time. Why I'm concerned, why am I selling this car myself? Well, if you were my subscriber, you would know that I want the feeling of a Jeep back, a boxy Jeep, or at the very least, bigger space inside. Yes, it's a lot of space, but not for camping. The problem is, it's enough for me or for two people or for two people plus a kid inside of the car. Of course it is. In the city and between the cities. I've just traveled a long time to Gold Coast and stuff, but there were only two people in the car. And I didn't camp per se, yeah? I went to a destination. But if you're camping, if you're kind of just trying to look ahead, trying to future-proof, yeah, that's what I'm getting to the first punchline, I suppose. If you're trying to future-proof, yeah, you need to be very clear with yourself about why are you buying this car. If all you see in your own future are those little trips here and there by yourself or maybe with a partner, but just two of you, you have absolutely no interest in camping inside of the vehicle, for example, yeah, you have not a big family, once again, I already mentioned it, and that's all you have in mind, you're not planning to go off-road really in any shape or form, then something like this HAVAL H6 I still believe is a well-priced, very, very good, solid vehicle. Problems start for you, like for me, when you will want to resell it. If you are trying to resell it, I will tell you completely transparently, my friend, I bought this car for close to $38,000 in Australia in 2022 in November last year. And right now I'm trying to sell it because I'm looking at buying a different vehicle. And I am looking at dropping the price by about $10,000 to generate any tangible interest as a private sale, of course. And if you're going for a trade-in, I would say you are losing three-ish more thousand on top of that. So these are not COVID times anymore. COVID times of crazy demand for cars, of unavailability of vehicles everywhere. That's why everything was flying off the shelf and private vehicles were selling really, really well. That's where you could make a lot of money, or at least not lose a lot of money on even Chinese vehicles if you were buying them. That's what I was doing, yeah? It was fun while it lasted. It's not the case anymore. I am looking right now at almost 25%, process that, of a loss on the value of this vehicle after 1 year of ownership. Process that. It is shocking. It is absolutely shocking. And no, I do not believe that this car deserves it. I do not believe that GWM, Great Wall Motor, as a brand deserves it. Because the car is great, it's built nicely, it would, like, some people would kill for it, you know, like, it's a freaking amazing car. And we are looking at that kind of crap situation, yeah? So what am I doing? I am trying to future-proof what I'm looking at, you know, going forward. This car, as a traditional boy from a traditional society, I like to own my assets, which is why I used to pay for almost, I'm gonna say, all my cars with cash. I know to some smarter people, without a doubt, this sounds completely crazy. They are like, Dimitri, can't believe you did that, mate. What did you expect? Like, you seriously were doing this to the money? And yes, I did, and I regret it. I bought this car for cash. I bought a bunch of other cars for cash. That's also part of the reason and part of explanation as to why I never sort of crossed over solidly into that 40, 45 plus $1,000 price range of the cars, because it's just simply hard to get that much cash and part with it in one lump sum. But I almost dropped 40 grand on this car. I still can't believe it. It's like an insanity, right? Came over me. And now I'm looking at a loss of 10 grand. So let's get to the second punchline. When is it worth buying the car like this, for cash or not for cash? But when would you buy something like this GWM HAVAL H6? Well, first of all, you would buy it off me if it's still available, because you would get a massive amount of chunk of money off, but the car is still almost new. Okay, that's the first thing when you would consider it if you are just smart. Secondly, if you're planning to buy this car, own it outright and run it into the ground. This could be done under probably a couple of conditions. First, you're buying a second car for your household and you have loose cash, you're well off, reasonably well off, and you're buying either this or something like inexpensive but with a warranty, brand new, like MG5, for example, for your kids for 25 grand or something along those lines. And you're planning to just let them drive it and, you know, scratch it and run it into the ground, and the car is solid enough, especially if it's not MG but a GWM particularly, it will last them another 10-15 years, no problems, you know. But you don't care the resale value, you don't care that that cash that you put into that car is going to diminish further and further and further. I do, by the way, but you might not. Under those conditions, you would consider going for Chinese cars because they are cheaper. And some of them, such as GWM, such as HAVAL, such as potentially Tank, but jury is out still. I'm pretty sure Tank is solid. Yeah, then you would do that. Why not? Because they are cheaper than their rivals, established rivals, such as, let's say, Toyota, Honda, Subaru, Mazda, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Problem is with Chinese vehicles, and that is a topic for another time because the video is already getting long enough. Problem with Chinese vehicles that I'm seeing is that they start climbing in their own price category. They start climbing in the price category, closer and closer and closer to their rivals, to the Japanese brands, for example. While Japanese brands, even Toyota, are bringing in something that is appealing and that is going down in the price range, such as Toyota Corolla Cross, which is a bit bare bones inside. It's a bit poverty, especially if you compare to the, you know, quality of life that you get in HAVAL. But excuse me, it's a Toyota, and I just told you that this car effectively cost me 10 grand more because of the loss. Yeah, so I could have paid essentially 10 grand more for a car up front and retained the value that right now I'm losing. Yeah. All of these comparisons are very crude, but I hope you're following the narrative. So I'm basically telling you that Chinese vehicles make sense if you buy a solid one, something like Great Wall Motor made vehicle, humble opinion, subjective opinion, and you're planning to drive it into the ground. If, however, the resale is important to you, I've just experienced it firsthand, and I will not wish it to you, my friend, because it is too expensive to own a vehicle that then will lose so much value. It is just crushing. It's crushing. Honestly, it is just not okay. Yeah. So you will ask me, Dimitri, so with this realization, what are you saying? What I'm saying is that I've already outlined in a quite a detailed way to you when I would still consider buying a Chinese car. But as far as future-proofing and as far as caring about how much the car goes for in 3-5 years' time, I am looking at not, first of all, ever paying for my cars with cash ever again. Yay, Dimitri, you realized what you should have realized years ago, mate. You have no hair. And I'm thinking of getting one of the established brands on novated lease. That's what I'm planning to do. I have a good job. I know novated leasing mechanism is not available to everyone, which is why it's a situation that is available to me. Luckily for me, I don't want to be in this situation of feeling stupid ever again. Do not even come at me saying get what you pay for. It's not about you get what you pay for. It is about how you pay for it. It is about the fact that I paid cash for this. It is about the fact that I was still in the zone of reselling cars during COVID or close to post-COVID period of time. And the market was entirely different to what it is now. Right now, the market is rapidly changing. The only time when it makes sense buying these very solid, very nice, lovely vehicles, such as my HAVAL H6, is if you have a little bit of cash, leasing is not available to you, your credit rating is not very good, or you simply are not employed in such a way that you can do a novated lease on a completely brand new vehicle that otherwise you cannot afford. And then you go to someone like me and you buy something like this, much cheaper, still getting a solid car. That's when it makes sense. Under other circumstances, right now, in a shock of losing $10,000, I can tell you I'm never doing this again to myself. So, with that being said, I am researching right now how much I can borrow, I can borrow however much I want, but I am researching what I'd be comfortable with, because novated lease obviously costs some chunk of your cash flow from your salary. And I will be talking to you very soon about what have I decided to buy. What have I decided to buy? You already understand that it will be something from an established brand that is going to be subjectively future-proof. I'm going to talk to you why I believe that it's future-proof. There are several points. I created spreadsheets. I'm taking it very damn seriously right now, I can tell you about that. And I will tell you exactly what I bought and why. So if you're interested in this, first of all, start talking to me straight away about this cash versus novated lease, Toyotas versus GWM and other stuff right now in the comments down below. I always welcome a nice conversation. Once again, sadly, I have to continue repeating myself that if you disrespect me with your tone and if you disrespect me with some form of comments, I remind you, this is not a public forum. This is a private club. You are invited by default, the doors are open, but the owner is going to kick you out immediately as soon as he sees to his own discretion that you are misbehaving. So I had to block a few people, and I will continue kicking people out from my party, from my house party, so to speak, if I don't like you for any reason. I make no excuses, but I'm open about this policy. You're welcome, it's an open door policy, but please be respectful, don't offend me. Be mindful about what you say. We don't have to agree, but be damn respectful, okay? Apologies to finish on a little bit of a downslope, but my people understand, and the new people of my kind who are welcome to my house party will forgive me, I hope. Give the video a like if you did. Don't give the video a like if you didn't. Subscribe for more if you enjoyed this to any shape or form or whatever. I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.